Hello, and welcome to the Substitute Teacher Orientation for Oldham County Schools. I am Michael Howard, the Substitute Teacher Coordinator. Everything that we are going to cover in this orientation today will be able to be printed out at the end of the orientation. First, I will take you through the most important sections of the Substitute Teacher Handbook. Since I will not be reading the handbook word for word, please read it in its entirety on your own. So let's begin. The first page has the important telephone numbers and information you may need in the course of your employment. Please make note of my information in case you need to contact me. My information is here in this third section. My office hours are 8 to 11:30 on school days. I do begin working from home in the mornings at 6 a.m. and then arrive in the office at 8 a.m. I also work from home in the evenings from 4:30 to 9 p.m. So if you need to get a hold of me outside of my office hours, please call or email me at this information here. The next page shows a map of Oldham County and where the schools are located throughout the district. Here on page 2, we give you all of the physical addresses for each school. This will be handy to keep with you so you can GPS any school that you are unfamiliar with. Pages 3 and 4 list the board members as well as the district administration employees. Here on page 5, under change of address or telephone number, please be sure to let me know if you have any permanent changes so we can get that updated in our main database. Under selection and employment of substitute teachers, whenever a substitute teacher must be employed to serve during the absence of the teacher of record, the position will be filled by the best qualified person available, giving preference to the factors of academic preparation, prior teaching experience or related educational work, and personal attributes compatible with the demands of the teaching profession. Substitute teacher assignments are made by the Frontline Substitute Management Computer System, utilizing data entered by the substitute, school requests, and/or teacher requests. The principal may request a substitute to change assignments once they have arrived at the school. The principal is responsible for evaluating the allocation of services in the manner deemed best for the administration of the school. I would like to expand on this information a little bit. For the day-to-day teacher absences that we need filled, the system is unbiased in filling these absences. Everyone is in front line on equal terms. We only give preference to certain substitutes when we are trying to fill a long-term assignment, such as a maternity or medical leave. In these instances, we will try to find someone highly qualified for the position. And in the bottom section of this page, the required documents for selection and employment of substitute teachers, an application, 2 reference forms, a copy of the Kentucky Teaching Certificate, if applicable, official college transcripts, physical examination form and TB risk factor assessment, tax withholding forms, criminal records checks, child abuse and neglect check, and I-9 must be on file in the personnel office prior to being hired as a substitute teacher. Background check. State law requires an FBI background check on each new school employee who has supervisory or discipline powers over students. This check must be completed prior to the superintendent authorizing employment for substitute teaching. Medical requirements. All Board of Education employees are required to have a medical examination upon initial employment, which includes a tuberculosis risk factor assessment. Evidence of such shall be submitted to the personnel office on the medical examination form for school employees. Medicare tax. Effective March 31, 1986, All substitutes will have withheld from their payroll checks 1.45% of their wages for a required Medicare tax. The local board will also match the 1.45%, and both deductions will be remitted to the federal government. Teachers' Retirement System. Effective with the 2002-2003 school year, all substitute teachers are required to participate in KTRS. Your earnings from this job are not covered under Social Security. Here is the substitute teacher pay scale for certified jobs. Ranks 1, 2, and 3 are granted as designated on a current Kentucky teaching certificate. Rank 4 is a bachelor's degree or higher with no minimum GPA, or at least 96 college hours with a minimum 2.45 GPA. And rank 5 is at least 64 to 95 college hours with a minimum 2.45 GPA. All substitutes who work in classified A jobs are paid $13.73 per hour. Long-term assignments. Long-term assignments are defined as a substitute teacher who has served in one single job for the same certified teacher on consecutive days for 20 or more days. Beginning on the 20th day, the substitute will be paid based on the appropriate long-term rate above in the chart and will be retroactive to the first day of the long-term assignment. Page 7 shows the payroll dates for the current school year. You will be paid on the 15th and 30th of the month unless that is a weekend. In that case, you would be paid on the Friday before. The third column shows the dates worked that will be included in each paycheck. If you have any questions when you receive your paycheck as to what dates are included, please refer to this chart first and then let me know if there is a discrepancy. Page 8, Direct Deposit Information. Oldham County Schools utilizes a self-service portal for use by all employees. The portal is called Munis Self-Service. MSS is available to all employees from anywhere in the world, allowing everyone to securely view their paycheck, W-2, W-4, total compensation, and personal information. You will be able to log into MSS and retrieve your direct deposit advice each pay period. Go to the district website and click on the white MSS icon at the top right of the screen. There is a picture here over to the right of what that icon looks like. The directions for logging into the MSS portal and the directions for retrieving your direct deposit advice can be found once you've clicked on the icon. Your first paycheck is always mailed to you, and thereafter, provided you have supplied us with a voided check, your paychecks will be direct deposited. Under assignment, substitute teachers may limit their service to certain schools and days. You may indicate this information on the school preference form. The time of your assignment will be: the preschool begins at 7:15 and ends at 2:30. The elementary school begins at 7:15 and ends at 2:30. And the middle and high schools begin at 8:35 and end at 3:50. Substitutes should report to their assigned schools at the designated time above. When there is a delayed start of the school day, you should take necessary precautions to arrive safely at the delayed start time. For example, during inclement weather. If school is dismissed early, substitutes need to remain at work for the normal work hours unless otherwise directed by the principal. It is your responsibility to listen for public service announcements regarding snow days. You will not be called in the event of a cancellation or delayed opening. Reporting to an assignment. Report to the school office immediately upon arrival at any assignment and sign in on the proper form. You will then receive information regarding where records can be found, room assignment, materials, lesson plans, class tools, keys, and seating charts, as well as a list of special scheduled duties and other necessary directions. Plan to arrive at your assigned room in advance of the pupils. This will afford you an opportunity to become familiar with the physical setup of the room and locate materials to carry out the assignment in a successful manner. When you are late, it is necessary for the school to get another teacher to cover for you. Repeated occurrences will lead to schools requesting that you not return for assignments. Familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations of the school, especially the fire and safety drills. If specific instructions have not been left, check with the principal's office. Introduce yourself to each new group of pupils with whom you come in contact throughout the day. Under records to be kept, under attendance, keep an accurate record of daily attendance, transfers, and withdrawals. Always take the attendance for each class period, check over the list of absences as compiled, and compare with the seating chart, roll book, or both, before reporting absences to the building principal. Do not enter anything into the teacher's official attendance register. Under money and miscellaneous articles, do not leave any money in the classroom unattended. Be sure to turn in any money to the office before you leave for that day, if applicable. Lesson plans. The Board of Education requires that lesson plans and other substitute information be available for your use during the day. Follow the lesson plans left by the regular teacher to the best of your ability. Lesson plans and other anecdotal materials are the personal property of the teacher. Therefore, you may not copy nor photograph any classroom materials to take with you at the end of your assignment. What you find in the classroom must remain in the classroom. The substitute teacher should not assign written work and leave it to be graded by the regular teacher unless the teacher has indicated this in their lesson plans. And down under classroom behavior. Oldham County Board policy prohibits the use of corporal punishment. Paddling, slapping, or other physical punishment of children is considered corporal punishment. Exceptionally difficult problems of student control should be referred to the principal. A written statement of the problem is required. Under responsibilities outside the classroom, teachers may be assigned some building responsibilities such as lunchroom duty, hall duty, playground duty, etc. Inquire at the beginning of your assignment what duties are involved, if any. The prompt and faithful performance of these duties is absolutely necessary for the smooth and safe operation of a school. Since substitute teachers take the place of the regular teacher in all aspects, it is your responsibility to be on duty at the assigned place and time in order to avoid the risk of liability in case of an accident to a child at that place and time. Methods to use to keep discipline problems from developing. Discipline is based on mutual understanding between the teacher and the student. The teacher understands the student's problems, and the student understands what the teacher expects of them and to what lengths the teacher will go to see that the student responds properly. If the teacher is too easygoing, the students will realize this and take the liberties the teacher will permit. If the teacher is firm and fair in their expectations, the students will act accordingly. When students are engaged with an activity of interest, discipline problems will not usually develop. A substitute should be pleasant yet firm. If the substitute knows what they are teaching and presents it in an interesting manner, they will be able to keep the student's attention. The substitute's first objective is to gain the respect of the students. You can do this by being prompt, being patient, being honest, having an appropriate sense of humor, being enthusiastic, and having definite learning objectives for the class. Never back a student into a corner. Be flexible and give the student an out. Remember that you are the adult and also move about the room. Do not sit behind the teacher's desk all day. Proximity is a very valuable asset in deterring student misbehavior. When discipline problems arise. If discipline problems arise and the substitute finds they are unable to solve them, please refer the student to the principal or their designee. Remember, substitutes must not use physical discipline of any type. Completing an assignment. It is expected that a substitute teacher will leave the room in good order and ready for the returning teacher. You may not remove any lesson plans or anecdotal materials from the classroom. Be sure to return all keys which were given to you when you reported to work. Turn in all money which was collected during the day into the office. Never leave money in the desk, and any lost or found articles should be noted and left for the regular teacher. And in the third paragraph there, as a substitute teacher, you have assumed the responsibilities of the teacher whom you replace. Consequently, you may not leave the building during planning time or lunch time that you may have. So plan to remain at the school until the end of the teacher workday. Suspected abuse and neglect. Kentucky law requires any employee, whether full or part-time, to immediately notify the Cabinet for Families and Children or the Kentucky State Police if they have any reasonable indication that a child is being abused or neglected. Failure to do so has resulted in school employees in other districts being charged criminally for failing to notify the appropriate authorities. Therefore, to comply with the law, you must notify the principal or school counselor the same day if you have a reasonable belief that a child is being abused or neglected. Both you and the administrator you notify must sign a written report to the authorities. Some items requiring office approval. Students are not to be interviewed nor photographed by anyone in or out of the classroom without office permission. Substitutes are prohibited from taking any pictures or video of students on your cell phone. And this is very important because we have had to terminate a substitute before for capturing images of students on their personal cell phone. This is a violation of school policy. Students are not excused to leave school under any circumstances without permission from the principal or office. Accidents involving any of the students in your care must be immediately reported to the office or the principal. Any student appearing to be ill should be escorted to the office immediately. You should never administer medication to a student. That would be done in the school office. Do not keep students after dismissal time without permission from the principal's office. Unemployment compensation. In agreeing to offer your services to Oldham County Schools as a substitute teacher, you acknowledge that there is no guarantee that the Oldham County School District will need your services as a substitute employee a certain number of days throughout the school year. In requesting to be placed on our substitute teacher list, you are acknowledging that the need for substitute employees is directly related to contracted employee wellness, contracted employee staff development opportunities requirements, and other situations outside of the employee's control, such as jury duty, death of a family member, etc. Subsequently, the Oldham County Schools cannot and does not guarantee that you will be employed any specific number of days as a substitute employee throughout the course of a year, nor that you will earn a certain amount of money on a monthly basis. Any efforts on your behalf to claim unemployment benefits with the Kentucky Office of Employment and Training, citing a lack of work as a reason, will be vigorously contested by Oldham County Schools. Individuals expecting to be employed on a regular basis or to earn a specific regular monthly income should not apply to be a substitute teacher. Substitute warning and exclusion letters. Individual schools may request that a particular substitute not be allowed to work in their school. Reasons for this exclusion could be poor classroom management, inappropriate behavior, not following lesson plans, not being punctual, etc. If two schools request that a substitute be excluded, the substitute will receive a warning letter. It is our intention by sending the substitute this letter that the substitute might be able to correct any issues that are causing them to be excluded. In the event that a substitute is excluded from another two schools for a total of 4, the substitute services will no longer be requested and will be removed from the substitute list. Requirements for maintaining active substitute status. Current substitute teachers must work a minimum of 10 days or 72.5 hours during the school year. Substitutes meeting this requirement are considered an active substitute for the following school year and will remain on the approved substitute teacher list. Failure to work the minimum 10 days will result in removal from the approved substitute teacher list. To regain active status, substitutes will be required to attend a substitute orientation session, pay for an FBS security clearance, and complete a physical exam with your doctor. All substitute teachers are considered at-will workers who are not guaranteed employment on a daily basis and may be excluded with or without notice for any lawful reason. So the minimum requirement will not apply the first year that you are a substitute, but will apply every year thereafter. Pages 12 and 13 are the Code of Ethics for all Kentucky personnel. Please take the time to read this on your own. Workers' compensation insurance. Workers' compensation insurance covers all full-time or part-time employees of the Oldham County Board of Education. This employee benefit provides protection in the event of injury arising in the course of employment. In case of an accident or injury, see the school office manager immediately to complete a first report of injury form. Pages 15 and 16 are the Workplace Safety Plan. Please take the time to read this on your own. Pages 17 and 18 are the important information about life-threatening food allergies, emergency protocol, and allergic reactions. Please read this on your own. Also, there is a Safe Schools course that you will need to complete before you are hired that will go over these items as well. And we will discuss this program later in the orientation. Use of restraint and seclusion. Employees may use within the scope of their employment such physical restraint as may be reasonable and necessary to protect themselves, students, or others from physical injury, to obtain possession of a weapon or other dangerous object under the control of a student, or to protect property from serious harm. This will also be covered in the Safe Schools course that you will take later on. Pages 20 and 21 are what is defined as acceptable use of the electronic resources you have available to use in the classroom. Please read this on your own, but I do want to mention 3 items. You are not to remove any of the equipment from the classroom. You are not to copy any software available to you, and you are not to go to any inappropriate websites. Page 22 is in here for your convenience. If at any time you need to resign your position, you are welcome to use this resignation letter. Next, we have the calendar for the current school year. Please make note of any days that are circled. We are not in session on those days. Lastly, we have the health insurance marketplace coverage options. To date, we have never had a substitute work enough days to qualify for insurance with the district. This concludes the handbook presentation. This is confidentiality training for Oldham County Schools. Why is confidentiality so important? We are legally bound by the federal laws through FERPA and IDEA to maintain every student's privacy. What is confidentiality? Keeping what one knows, sees, or hears about someone private. What counts as personally identifiable information? Identifiable information such as names, family members' names, phone numbers, addresses, etc. Information on achievement, progress, behavior, or grades. Information on participation in special education or intervention programs or services. Substitutes should not give a parent a child's phone number for a play date or address for an invitation. You should not speak about a child in front of other children. You should not speak about a child in a public setting, such as at the grocery store or a sports field. You should not share information with other staff members without a justified need. Keeping confidentiality when emailing. Substitutes that are working in long-term jobs are allowed to respond to a parent through email. When responding, substitutes are required to delete information from the previous email and use only the first initial when referring to a student. If working with students, please do not send any information on progress to the teachers through email. If you aren't sure if what you're about to do or say might break confidentiality, you should stay on the safe side and assume that it does break confidentiality until you know for sure.
Good day. My name is Rich Graves, Director of Personnel for Oldham County Schools, and I want to thank you for wanting to become a substitute teacher for Oldham County. I'm confident that you will find your experiences as a substitute rewarding. I want to take this opportunity to review and emphasize some of the topics Mrs. Howard has already covered with you today. First and foremost is workplace safety. Accidents do happen, so I want to review some safety tips on how to prevent the most common types of accidents. 1. Please do not stand on furniture or other objects for out-of-reach items. Employees injuring themselves from falling off chairs, books, shelves, etc. is a too common incident. If you're unable to safely grab what you need, please call the front office for help. Someone will be there as soon as possible to assist you. 2. Be aware of your surroundings. Whether in a classroom or in the hallways, everyone should be alert of potential hazards that could lead to injury. This includes backpacks, coats, spills, congested hallways, and distracted walkers. That means students and adults on their phones walking around are just a few items that can lead to a potential injury. So please be mindful of your work and travel areas and take the necessary time and precautions to avoid possible slips, trips, and falls. 3. If you do get hurt, please report the injury to the office manager as soon as possible. Often people are embarrassed to admit to an injury, but we cannot ensure your safety or prevent further injury to others if we do not know what took place. Should something happen, we will need to fill out a specific report and evaluate your need for medical care. We want to take care of you, but cannot do it if we do not know. Please be sure to report. The next topic is exclusions. Exclusions are an unfortunate occurrence that happen from time to time, but can be prevented with taking thoughtful measures. 1. Follow the lesson plan left by your teacher. A lesson plan should almost always be ready upon your arrival at a school. However, there can be situations of last-minute, unplanned absences when a lesson plan is not ready right away. If this should ever happen, notify the office manager. She will be able to assist you with getting something in place. There may also be times when students finish assignments early that will require you to improvise. In these situations, it is important that you use good professional judgment when filling that time. Always look to create activities or discussions that are centered on the lesson and topic. Avoid using the classroom as your personal bully pulpit. We live in a quote-unquote hot take world thanks to sports talk radio, 24/7 news coverage, and social media. The classroom is not the setting to express these views. Stay student-centered and be a facilitator, not a lector. 2. If at any time you're unsure about something, call the front office and seek clarification. It is always best to be proactive and ask for guidance than being reactive after a bad decision. 3. Maintain appropriate interactions with your students. This includes both in person and on social media. Regardless of your personal relationship with students outside of school, you could be their mom, dad, aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, etc. But as a substitute, you are the employee and you are their teacher. Professional relationships must be maintained. Some other hot topics to cover: cell phones. Cell phones create the #1 discipline issue for teachers and substitutes alike. As mentioned above, it is important to follow the lesson plan. If the lesson plan does not call for students using their cell phones, then the best advice is to tell students to turn them off and put them away in backpacks or purses. Should someone not follow your directive, it is imperative that you follow these fundamental steps. 1. Be consistent in how you handle cell phone disruptions. If you say you're going to take a phone, if you see it out, and then you have to follow through. You cannot give 5 chances and then expect the 5th kid to turn their phone over. 2. If a student refuses to hand over their phone, stay calm. Ask the student politely to turn it in by giving them a choice, either complying by giving you the phone or you calling the office to have an administrator handle the situation. The biggest disciplinary mistake teachers or substitutes can make is arguing with their students. When you do argue with students, you are unintentionally elevating them to an equal status with you. Just remember to stay calm, give clear directions, and be consistent. Dress. Substitutes are expected to dress in business casual attire. Please, no sweatpants, yoga pants, pants with rips, holes, tears, frays, shorts, etc. Exceptions can be made if covering a PE, art, or agriculture class. If you ever have questions, please contact the school you'll be subbing in for clarification. Parking. For those of you that are subbing in a high school setting, teachers should include their parking space in their sub plans. But if they don't, try to park in a visitor spot. If you're unsure about where you parked, please make sure you check with the office manager upon arrival. This is especially important if you accidentally park in a student parking area. This can cause a lot of issues for the high school administrative team, so please check with the office manager when parking. Finally, being a substitute for Oldham County Schools is not only a great job, but it also provides you the opportunity to demonstrate your abilities and skills you can offer a school should you be seeking full-time employment. As a former principal, I hired several former substitutes for both certified and classified positions who exhibited the work ethic and demeanor we wanted as part of our team. If you are seeking a permanent position, be sure to check in with the office manager during your planning period to see if there's anything you can do to help out. Get in good with the office manager and you are set. Thank you again for signing up to be a substitute. We're very excited to have you join Team Oldham. Please reach out to us with any questions. Thank you.
Interactive classrooms and technology. Acceptable use policy. What is it? This is the agreement that acknowledges the rules and procedures when using electronic resources as outlined in the policies listed below for staff and students. It is recommended that you read these documents. We will post the links for you in a location for easy access. Staff Policy 4083 and Student Policy 9064. Access is a privilege and not a right. All staff and students have a unique email address and several cloud storage options to be used while employed or attending Oldham County Schools. These accounts are used for schoolwork. Who signs the agreement? All staff will sign the agreement that they will adhere to the policies and procedures as outlined and to maintain privacy and security for the students. Students will sign the agreement stating it has been explained to them. Parents will sign to indicate that they have read the policy and agree to their students utilizing electronic resources, including, but not limited to, email, cloud providers, and other programs. What does it mean to me? We'll go over some of the highlights. Oldham County Schools have the right to limit or deny access to software or other electronic resources. No right to privacy. Random access to student and staff workstations can be made by district tech staff to review progress and for security purposes. School technology is not for use of private business or personal gain. Please do not share your password. You will not download or stream software or music without prior permission from the school technology coordinator. All software must be vetted and approved for use for the safety and security of students as required by Kentucky law. Staff and students will not use any email other than the district-assigned email for schoolwork or for accessing third-party district-approved programs. Staff shall not transmit personally identifiable information of any student by email or through any electronic resources. What does inappropriate use look like? Using personal email accounts for schoolwork rather than using the district email that was assigned to you. accessing another student or staff member's account, bullying and harassment of any type, downloading any software or music without approval from the school technology coordinator, plugging any non-school-owned device into school-owned computers without permission. When you arrive at school, please check the subfolder. Schools should have included in the folder documentation on how to use the technology equipment in their classrooms. If you have issues using technology in the classroom, contact the library media specialist or the STC for assistance. Long-term subs will be assigned their own username and password. The account will be disabled at the end of the long-term employment period. Log into the computer. The computers will update nightly. When you arrive, you will want to press Alt, Control, Delete, and click Restart before logging into the computer. Updates that apply during the night will only apply during a restart. If you don't restart the computer as instructed, the pending updates could make the computer run very slowly. Login could take 3 to 5 minutes. For your username, you will use OCSub. It is not case sensitive. Please check the subfolder or with the office manager for the password. Do not share with other staff or students for any reason. All students have a unique login and password, have access to email through Office 365 using Outlook, have access to several cloud providers to store their student work. Those are Office 365 and G Suite for Education. Any student reporting they do not have email or email that is non-working will need to contact the media specialist immediately. What does cloud mean? Cloud is access to software through an internet browser. Physical location should not matter. Client software is installed on the physical local computer and in most cases can only be accessed at that computer. The wireless network. School and personal devices are registered on the network. School-owned computers will connect to SOCs. Chromebooks, iPads, and personally owned devices will connect to PodNet. The district is currently in a planned, phased upgrade of the classroom technology. Schools that have been refreshed have an interactive flat panel in the room and an upgraded sound system with new microphones. Remember, if you need assistance with the equipment and instructions are not included in the subfolder, please contact the library media specialist or school technology coordinator. Use of classroom microphones are important and should be used as much as possible. If students have a hearing impairment, the School Learning Plan 504 or IEP state that they need audio amplification. Use of microphones are required. In some cases, a student may have a specialized personal amplification system that they will give you when they enter the room. You are required to use the device in those cases. Most classrooms that have not been upgraded will have a projector. There should be a wall plate or remote control to power on the projector. Some wall plates have 6 buttons and 8 functions. The on button will be the off and on, and the off button is the enter key. In any setting where students are using devices, it is important that you are moving around the room and viewing the monitor side of the devices to verify that students are on task. Most schools have access to technology for each student in the classroom in the following forms: computer labs, classroom sets of Chromebooks and carts, classroom sets of iPads and carts, and use of personally owned devices. Students should not be streaming music or playing games from school computers for entertainment. Students should not be plugging personal devices into our computers. Viruses can be transferred from the device to the computer, or in some cases, from the computer to the device. When using personal devices, they should only be used for classroom work when instructed by the teacher. They should not be checking personal mail, listening to music, texting, chatting online with family or other students, and the devices should be placed face down on the desk until instructed by the teacher to use their devices. Remember, technology is a great tool when used appropriately, and our primary goal is to keep the students safe while using technology during their learning experience.
These are the instructions for an online training program called Safe Schools that must be completed prior to your hiring as a substitute teacher. In step 1, there is the web address here that you will enter to set up your account. You will follow the instructions to do this, and then you will be taken into the mandatory training page where you will complete the following modules here. After each tutorial is completed, there will be a quiz, and you must score at least 85%. Once you've completed all the modules, you must notify Michael Howard as soon as possible to expedite your hiring. This is the Frontline Absence Management Training. You will log into your Frontline account by going to the web address asoponline.com. You will then fill in the username you created and your password and click Sign In. Once you have done this, you will be taken to the Frontline homepage. This screen will show you all available jobs that need to be filled. So here at the bottom of this screen, you are seeing one job that needs to be filled for today. You will see the teacher's name, what grade or subject that they teach, the date or dates of the job, and the times that you should arrive and leave. If you see a little icon that looks like a piece of paper, you want to click on that, and it will give you information that the teacher has typed. Next, since this job here is for more than one day, you must click on the button that says See Details to accept this job. If you accept a multi-day job, you must be available to work all of the days. So once you click on the Accept button, you are given a confirmation number for the job. At this point, the job will now show up in your Scheduled Job tab. This is the screen you will come to if you need to cancel a job that you have accepted. You will want to find the job and click on the Cancel button. It will ask you if you are sure you want to cancel. You will click Yes, Cancel Job. Keep in mind there is a deadline for canceling a job. It has to be more than 1 hour before the job begins. If it is less than 1 hour, you need to call or email Michael Howard to remove you from the job. The next tab is the Past Jobs tab. The Past Jobs tab will show you all of the jobs that you have worked in the last 30 days. Finally, the last tab in this section is the Non-Workdays tab. This tab will allow you to enter any days that you are not available to work. You will click on Add a Non-Workday. Then you will choose your day that you are unavailable to work. We will choose September the 28th. You can type a reason if you would like. And if it's all day that you're unavailable, it is already checked marked for the entire day. And then you will click on the Save button. You can see here that it says your non-work day was saved successfully. You can also add a recurring non-work day. So again, you will click on Add a Non-Work Day. And let's say that you are never able to work on any Mondays. You will choose your start date, the first Monday that you are unavailable. Click the Repeat button. Click on the Monday button for every Monday, and then choose the date that this will end on. And if it's for the entire school year, you can go all the way out to the end of May and choose the final Monday, and then click Save. And again, it says they were saved successfully, and now you can see all of the Mondays for the whole school year. Now, if for some reason you were able to work one of these Mondays, you simply find the correct date and you click the Remove button. It will ask you if you are sure, and you will click Remove. And then it will ask if you want to remove the whole group or just the one day, and you can click the appropriate button. And then it will say you have successfully removed this non-work day. Another section that will come in handy is the History section. You will click on the History tab, and if you scroll down, the History section will allow you to see all the jobs that you have worked in the past. You can filter this by several choices in the Select Date Range menu. You have the option of the last 60, last 90, last 120, or you can do this school year or even go to a previous school year. This concludes the Frontline Training section. You have now completed the Substitute Orientation Program. Please print this form, sign and date, and return it to Michael Howard to expedite your employment as a substitute teacher.